Hey guys, it's Quinn from TheDigitalOptics here today, doing a review on the Nikon D3100. This is it right here, the 360 view of that. And it comes with this kit lens, which is the 18-55 DX Nikkor lens. So today I'm going to give you technical perspectives on it first, so all that fun stuff that it shows online about the camera, and then I'm going to let you know what's in the manual, like the buttons and different functions that this camera has. So it's a beginner camera, so it's only about 14.2 megapixels, which is pretty typical for a Nikon beginner camera, whereas Canon starts at like 18 or some shit like that. So it's also a DX format camera, so obviously beginner DX image sensor is not as big as an FX camera, but also for $400 it's sounding about right. The continuous shooting mode is capable of 3 frames per second. That's alright, I guess. I would prefer something a bit higher than that, so soon I'm upgrading to the D7000, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to on that camera. So if we go to ISO here, the ISO ranges from 100 to 2800. That's right. 12,800. Okay. 12,800. And its noise for performance, like, it sucks. Keep it at 100, 200. It's going to be tricky, but its noise is just ridiculous. HD video, 1080p, 24 frames per second. Has a 3-inch monitor, as you see here. It weighs, body only, weighs about 16 ounces, I'd say. Well, the internet would say, actually. The viewfinder here, it's a 95% viewfinder, so that could be a pain in the ass sometimes. Yesterday I was trying to take pictures of stairs, but cutting off a road that the stairs led to, and it was just trial and error in that case, so it's not very good if you're trying to capture it right then and there, like one shot. It has 11 autofocus points, so that's alright, and it's interchangeable from 9 to 11 actually. The battery here on the bottom, it's an EL14 battery, and it lasts about 550 shots per charge, or at least the Canon site says that. But if you are shooting in lower lightings, that's obviously not going to be the same statistic, because obviously you might be changing your ISO and obviously your shutter speed as well, so that's going to definitely affect how long your camera is going to last. So now I'll give you a physical perspective on this. So as you see, this is the top of the camera. I'll give you a 360-degree view there, right? There's the back. So we're going to start up here with the buttons. So obviously a shutter button, on and off switch. There's an info button here which brings up the info screen on the camera. The exposure compensation button. The different dials here which allow you to go from a single shot to continuous, which is 3 frames per second I mentioned before. There's the self timer, which you can set from like 5 seconds, 2 seconds, and 10 seconds I believe. And then there's the quiet shutter. The quiet shutter and the single shutter don't make much of a difference, just it's louder changing it from single shutter to quiet shutter than the quiet shutter is, which is kind of silly. And here's the dial, which on all of Nikon, at least beginner cameras, is on the right side, just because it's a bit bigger. On the other cameras you'll notice it's on the other side, and it's a bit smaller just because the other ones have less settings like that, because they're more programmed into the camera. So as you see here, there's manual, aperture priority, or manual, first of all, is you can set your aperture and ISO and pretty much everything else, shutter speed, all separately from each other. Aperture priority is just you setting your aperture, and the shutter speed changes itself accordingly. Shutter speed, shutter priority, S right here, is pretty much the opposite of aperture priority. So you can change the shutter speed while the aperture changes itself accordingly. And the P right here is for programmable auto, which is pretty much just like these auto settings there, but you can change it with this dial. So auto, the green auto, is pretty much fully automatic. It will pop up the flash for you if it reads that you need it. Then under that there's auto, but it's no flash. So there's the flash symbol with a cross through it, right? So that's auto with no flash. There's portrait mode, landscape, children, so I guess it kind of does a faster shutter speed. Sports, same thing as children pretty much. Close up, so flowers and everything, it'll probably release this flash. And night portrait as well. There's also this guide right there that kind of just lets you change between those, but on your camera. So next we go to the back here, and you'll see there's a dial here which allows you to change either your aperture or shutter speed when you're on the manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, or programmable auto. Right here is the autofocus lock, or just lock button, so you can lock your pictures in case you're like bumping it around or something like that, which is kind of weird. Next, right here is a live view switch. So that allows you to go from the viewfinder to the, you can't really see through it right now, but it allows you to see through this instead of this. It actually blocks that off. So it goes straight to the sensor as opposed to having it go to the mirror. Under that is this button here, which is just a pretty much red button, and it allows you to change, or not change, but it allows you to take video. I don't know why I said change. There's your D-pad right there, which is pretty much just whenever you need it, you can navigate through your info settings and everything right there. Your trash can button, which is when you go to your pictures, press a trash can, it says delete, yes, or cancel, so you can press cancel or you can press delete. So on this side here, you'll see there's your playback button, which is when you're on your info screen like that, you can press that and it'll show your pictures, which you can navigate through with the D-pad or this dial up here. Next is the menu button right there. So that lets you kind of just change all the technical stuff in your camera, where you want your pictures to go. I'll give you some examples here. Image quality, you can change it from JPEG to RAW plus F and everything like that. You can change your white balance there as well, ISO settings, LCD screen brightness, and then there's a retouch menu as well, which just allows you to pretty much change your picture while you're on your camera. This is the setup menu, shooting menu, and playback menu. It also shows down here your recent settings. So underneath that there's the zoom out button. So what that does, if you're on the menu, it has this little question mark beside it. Notice that? It says set picture control. If you don't know what that means, you can press that. It gives you a big explanation when you hold that. So you can read that and pretty much have your manual on your camera. It also allows you to, when you're in your pictures like this, you can press it once, twice, 3 times to see all your pictures. So as you can see there, there's like a huge collection pretty much of them. Underneath that is the zoom in button, which allows you to zoom back into an individual picture, or even when you're on an individual picture, you can zoom into that and see it even closer to test sharpness and everything. Underneath that is an info button, just the same as I showed you up there. So now next to that is the GPS, USB, HDMI, and AV out ports. So This is GPS one. This is the USB one, so that's how you plug it into your computer. HDMI hooking up to the TV, and AV out, so earphones or microphone or whatever. So just above where it says D3100 on this camera, there's 3 dots, and that's the internal microphone rather. So when you're recording, it records from there, which isn't the best spot because your fingers tend to be there when you're filming. So this is your flash button here. So if you're set to manual and you have your camera on, obviously, you press that and the flash will pop up like that. It also allows you to adjust flash compensation, which is just some more technical stuff in your camera. Down here is the FN button, which allows you to, just like a computer would, it allows you to have a hotkey, kind of, a shortcut, right? So if I press that and spin this wheel back there, I can change the ISO. If I wanted, I could change it to pretty much almost anything else on the camera. And then under that is the lens release button. So it's this big button there. If you press that and turn it, you can take the lens off. So this white dot here is where the lens, it kind of marks where the lens can attach, and there's also a white dot on your camera. So if you line those up, then turn it left, then that locks in there as long as you don't press that. So on the side of the lens there, actually, there's autofocus and manual focus. So if I have it on autofocus, I can half press my shutter button and it'll start focusing. Since I have the lens cap on, it's not focusing to anything. The manual focus means that if I do press the button half down, it's not going to do anything. But if I turn this, I can manually adjust what I want in focusing. Yeah. Then there's VR. So VR is vibration reduction. So vibration reduction means it's this image stabilizing in your camera. So if you have a 1/13 shutter speed, it means you could take that and it'd still be being pretty clear. Whereas if you had it off, then that wouldn't be clear at all. So then on the front here, you've got your autofocus assist light. So your autofocus assist light, a lot of people don't keep it on just because when you're autofocusing, it lights up so that it can brighten up darker areas so that your camera can focus to that area. Now here, I forgot to show you this, it's your SD card slot. So it's just this little spring door, and you press in to get your card out. You just press it in again and it locks in. So that's it for physical, and that's it for the video actually. So thanks for tuning in, I guess, and don't forget to subscribe. See you.